I just read a report about how biased the BBC is in favour of conservatism. Apparently, or allegedly, the BBC has been reporting more stories from the Conservative point of view. They've been interviewing more Conservative MPs or Conservative members than Labour members. They've been giving a lot more airtime to Cameron rather than Corbyn. And now there's a big kerfuffle over the way the BBC was handling the resignation of some of Corbyn's cabinet and trying to make a big fuss out of it and trying to make it all look like, well, basically look like Corbyn's an idiot. And that does make me think, is the BBC biased? Well, they're not supposed to be. Here in the UK, I don't know if you're abroad, but here in the UK the BBC is paid for by licence fees. It's kind of like a tax on everybody who's got a television. We pay about £140 a year for the privilege of being able to watch the BBC TV channels, or any channels for that matter if they're transmitted over the airwaves. And as such, because they're paid for by the public's money and not by advertising or anything, they have to be neutral on all political matters. Well, of course, it is very difficult to be neutral, but they are supposed to be. That's part of their remit, part of their granting of permissions to take money off people for no other reason than watching the channel. Now, the thing that bothers me, the thing that makes me question is, are they actually biased? Because of course the person writing this report is probably by nature biased themselves. He's produced a few statistics to show that the BBC has given more airtime to the Conservatives and so on and so forth. But it's very difficult for an ordinary layman like myself to check this out, go back through all the BBC's catalogue and see who was interviewed and when and stuff like that. I'm sure the information's out there, but really how many of us got time to do that sort of research? And you're always wondering, whenever you read something, anything, and the internet is an amazing place for people to get the voices out there, but whenever you read something you have to accept that they have their bias upon it. I'm speaking now with my own bias. I've got to admit there's a lot of things about Jeremy Corbyn that I don't agree with, but overall many of the things I do agree with. So my bias is to lean towards the fact that the BBC might well be biased. Of course, if I was a staunch Conservative I would just dismiss it as being a biased report. And we never find the truth. We never find the truth. We've had rumblings between our friends recently and both of them have given their side of the tale, and of course both of them have given it with their own bias. And much like politics, we're almost asked to choose between our friends when they've had a fallout. And you never get to the truth. You never actually get to the truth of the matter. Well, he said this and he said that, but she said this and she said that, and it's impossible to unravel. You sort of think to yourself, well, maybe if I was there and I actually saw what went on, I'd be able to form a better opinion. And I suppose there's a lot of truth in that. If I was there when the arguments were going on between this couple, I would have much more information to form my own opinion. And of course, if I was there when, or making notes when I was watching the BBC coverage of the recent general election, I could have been able to make my own opinion about that. I did watch some of the media and some of the BBC's coverage of it, but I wasn't looking for any bias, so perhaps I wasn't aware of it. Maybe I'm looking for it now. And that's a statement, isn't it? If you're looking for something, you'll probably find it. If you're looking for bias towards Conservatives, you'll find it. But I'm quite sure there'll be somebody out there who is looking for bias towards Jeremy Corbyn and Labour, and will probably find it. We do tend to find what we're looking for. You can even argue the same with science, although many scientists would disagree. So everything is about bias, and everything is about an opinion or a point of view or a take on the matter. And it saddens me a little bit. It makes me realise that there is no such thing as truth. It makes me realise that everything is a matter of opinion. And what's really sad about it is if you do realise everything's a matter of opinion, that's okay. What's the problem is when people don't realise it's a matter of opinion and treat their opinions as rock solid fact. It's my opinion that there's no God, but I'm open to the idea that there might be. But there's quite a lot of people out there who are adamant in whichever direction towards whatever religion they believe in, and are prepared to go to extreme lengths to try and get their point across or force their point onto other people. And you can't force a point of view onto somebody, well, can you? You can certainly persuade people and steer them and guide them, but even so, they'll still have their own take on that point of view that you're trying to put across. It's a shame. Truth is a funny thing. Is there such a thing as truth, or is everything just an opinion? I do wonder.